Hi team, greetings everyone. In our previous session, we saw if-fail checkpoints. So in today's session, we are going to cover a new topic called as synchronization. First of all, we need to understand what is synchronization and why we need it, right? So for that, before seeing the synchronization, let me run this particular script and let me show you the execution. And later, let us discuss about the synchronization and why it is needed. So first, if I want to run this particular script, what I have to do, I have to click on this run button. So before clicking on run button, we have to make sure our FireFlink client is up and running. Let me check. So this is my FireFlink client. All the ports are in stop condition, which is indicating that the FireFlink client is up and running. Okay. Now let me go to the FireFlink platform and this is my script. I want to run this particular script. I'll just click on this run button. So now what will happen? It will navigate to the execution dashboard. A new execution ID will be generated and the execution is already triggered. So now it is loading the application, Stack application. So here the execution was very fast, if you can see, and it is clicking on register button and it is giving us an error message saying that this particular email ID is not acceptable. Now it is waiting for that particular success message to appear, but it will not appear. Why? Because the registration got failed. So now it should close the browser. So here, once the session is done, it will automatically close the browser. So now what I will do, I'll just sync the status. So it is getting failed. So now let me just go to this particular failed status and let me expand this. So if you can see, I'm landing in the result page where I have to expand this particular registration module. Under that we have shopper module. Let me expand it to, and we have this particular script. Means if you can see, the status of the script is reflecting here, and here the stepwise result also is reflecting. Like if you can see, total number of steps is 20, passed is 18, like one got failed and 0 warning and one got skipped. Okay, now I want to click on this failed status of the script so that it will show me the exact step where it is getting failed. If I scroll down here, if you can see, it is failing in this particular step number 19. So it is failing due to some reason. I want to know the reason. How do I do that? Just click on this failed status. So once I click on the failed status, if you can see, I'm getting this particular step result pop-up. And here it is saying successfully registered is not found. So it is not able to find that particular successfully registered pop-up, means that was the message. Why? So we know the reason, because it was stuck in the register page, means sign up page, saying that the email ID is not valid. So now what I will do, I'll just click on this download screenshot. We have an option for us, download screenshot. So this will download a screenshot into your local machine. See, this screenshot is downloaded. Let me just open this. So here, if you can see, it is stuck in the register page and there was an error message saying that the email ID is not valid. So why the email ID is not valid? In the sense, this ShopperStack application is developed in such a way that it is going to accept only Gmail or Yahoo or Hotmail. So those kind of domains it will accept. So here, if you can see, it is giving a random domain name called as Yandex. So this kind of domain name is not acceptable in ShopperStack application, right? So now what I will do, I'll just close this screenshot. I'll close this. Now let me go to the same script. So how do we navigate? I'll just click on test development. So now I'll come to this test development section where I will be expanding the ShopperStack module, and under that we'll be having the script. Let me click on it. So now if I scroll down, if you can see, this particular step 19 is failing. And what is the reason for this particular failure? The random email ID which is getting generated is a problem, right? So if you can see, my step number 13 is generating the random email ID, right? So what I will do, I'll just change this step. So I'll just remove this now. So we already discussed there are two ways to generate the random email ID. One is generate a random email ID. One is generate a random email ID with a specific domain. So I'm going to use the second one now. So after means before entering this random email ID into the email address text field, I have to generate it, right? So before that, I'll be adding the step. I'll just click on this plus, and here I'll just type generate. So here, if you can see, generate random email with specific domain. So I'll just click on this. So here it is asking for domain name. So I'll just give it as gmail.com. And here I'm going to give it Means I'll be giving the return step value, because this particular NLP is going to generate a random email which is having a Gmail as a domain name. Okay, I have given a wrong name. I'll just change it now. Gmail. So it is going to give us a random email ID with a specific domain gmail.com, right? So what I will do, I'll just use my, means I will create a random variable now and to store that particular value. So here I no need to create a random variable. Why? Because I have already created a random variable which is naming as random email. So what I will do, I'll just store it in the same email ID variable. So I'll just call the same variable using dollar symbol. Random email. If you can see, it is there. I'll just select this. I'll just give the if else checkpoint and let me just click on add. So this will generate a random email with the Gmail as a domain name. So now let me run the same script once again. So how do we run it? Just click on run button. So already the execution has begun. So now the script is getting passed. So let me just sync the status. So now if you can see, the script is getting passed. So now let me go to test development. Let me go to that particular script. So here if you can see, we are getting script level result as well as step level result. And here, if you remember, whenever we are using verification in NLPs, right? I told you it will return a specific Boolean value, right? So if you remember, here this is a verification NLP. Verify, welcome to Shopper Stack, enjoy shopping with us is displayed. So this is a verification NLP and is verifying whether the element is displaying or not. Am I correct? Yes. Now I'll just click on this. Now here this is the element and this variable why we are creating, because I want to store the return value, right? So here if you can notice, I'll just click on edit variable. As of now the variable is not holding any value. I told you this value will be given by the NLP, right? But there is no value as of now because that value will be stored only during the runtime. So what I will do, I'll just cancel this. Now this step number 4 is having a past status, right? I'll just click on this. So now it is showing me this particular step is passed, and here if you can see return global variable is displayed is true. So now the NLP is storing that true Boolean value into this is displayed. And why? Because it is able to verify that particular element. So now in the same fashion, I'll just close this. Let us check all the verification NLPs. So here if you can see verify if shopper login text is displayed. I'll just click on the past status. In the is displayed, the true value is given as a return value. I'll just close this. Now let me just go to, yeah, here if you can see again we have a verification NLP. I'll just click on the past status. It is giving the true value. Okay. What if it is giving the false value? Then that particular element is not visible. Correct? So for that I'll show you the example. Now let me just click on test development. So we have an option called as execution dashboard. I'll just click on this. So here, this particular script was failing, right? The one which we triggered before. I'll just click on this failed status now. And let me just go to that particular script failed status. And here, if I scroll down, see this step number 19 is getting failed. This is also a verification NLP only. It is verifying whether the successfully registered is displayed or not. I'll just click on the failed status. What should be the is displayed return value? It should be false because the element was not displayed. So it is going to return as false. So here this verification NLP will return you false when the element is not visible, and it will return you true when the element is visible. I hope this is clear. Now let me just navigate to that particular script. So when I ran this particular script, the execution was going smoothly. Now let us assume that there is a scenario where the application is taking time to load. So the Shopper Stack application is taking time to load and the elements are getting loaded after 2 seconds, after 5 seconds. So in those cases, will this script again pass? No. Why? Because here the script execution will be happening immediately, means step by step. So here once after the open browser is open browser is done, it will automatically maximize browser. It will navigate to Shopper Stack and it will verify the shop, means it will verify the welcome text. So here if you can see, here the step is continuously getting executed. Now, due to some network issue, our application might slow down. Means I am talking about the ShopperStack application. So our application might slow down. Now, if I want to match the speed of this automation with the application speed, what I can do? Now, how do I tell this automation script wait for the element to load? How do I tell it? So for that, we have a concept called as synchronization. Now, let us have a look into it. So here we are going to talk about synchronization. First, let us understand what is synchronization. So matching the automation speed with the application speed is called as synchronization. So here when I say automation speed, once we trigger the execution, right, one automation session is created and the execution is happening. And how it is happening? It is going to happen step by step. So in my script, I am having 20 steps, right? So it is going to execute step by step. But application, is it going to respond in the same way? So in my laptop, the network is good. So it is going to load the application very faster. Say for example, I'm using my mobile hotspot and it is not very good network. So in that case, the application will take time to load. Am I correct? In that situation, my automation speed should match with my application speed, right? So for that, we are going to use this concept called as synchronization. Now, why we need this synchronization? Okay, what if synchronization is not given? So whenever the automation tool is, when the automation tool is running the automation session, right, what is going to happen? The automation session will be faster. Why? Because it is going to execute step by step. Correct. So once the first step is done, it will go for the next step. Once the next step is done, it will go for next. So in the same way, it is going to run the execution. But my application might slow down due to some network issue, right? So in that case, I have to match the speed of the particular application with the automation speed so that I can avoid the failures due to the network issue, right? So in order to achieve this, we are using this synchronization concept. So synchronization is nothing but adding the wait statements. I'm just asking the automation script to wait for that particular application to load, or to wait for the element to load, or wait for a specific condition, or wait for 2 seconds. So these kind of wait statements we are going to give in the synchronization concept. And in synchronization, we are having 3 different wait statements. So one is implicit wait. So what is this implicit wait? So when I say implicit wait, it is going to wait for the element to load. So it will wait for that particular element to load in the DOM. Now, when I say explicit wait, it will wait for a specific condition which is specified by the user. Now, when I say custom wait, it is going to wait for the specified time. So if I say wait for 2 seconds, it will wait for 2 seconds. Irrespective of whether the element is loaded or any condition is loaded, it doesn't care. It will wait for 2 seconds since I have given only 2 seconds. So now let us discuss in detail about all these 3 different types of wait statements. So first thing is implicit wait. What is this implicit wait? Let us take a scenario. I have an automation script. First, I'll be opening a browser, and next I'll be maximizing the browser. So next I'll be navigating to the URL, and this is a registration process. Like let us assume this is a registration process. Okay. Now once after navigating to the URL, let us take the same application ShopperStack. So what I have to verify? I have to verify the welcome text, right? Now the welcome text should be displayed. So before the welcome text is displayed, it should be loaded in the particular application, right? Now, how do I tell this automation script wait for this particular element to load and then verify whether it is displaying or not? So when I say I want to wait for the particular element to load, I'll be using something called as implicit wait. So here I'll be saying wait for element to load in the DOM. So once I give this implicit wait, what will happen? It will wait for the welcome text to load in the DOM, and then it is going to verify whether it is displayed in the UI or not. Okay, what about the next step? So click on the login button. Now I want to click on this particular login button. Before clicking on it, I want it to be loaded in the DOM, right? So do we need to give that particular implicit wait again in the step number 5, means before step number 5? Do we need to give it the same step again before the step number 5? Not required. The beauty of this implicit wait is once you add this implicit wait inside a script, it will be applicable for all the elements inside the script. So now this particular implicit wait is added as a 4th step, right? So hereafter, whatever steps is having elements, it will always wait for those elements to load and then it will perform the action. Okay, once I click on login button, what is going to happen? It is going to load the page and my login page will be displayed, where I have to verify shopper login text is displayed or not. So this is also an element. What this implicit wait will do, this will wait for this particular element to load and then it will perform the verification action. So the beauty of implicit wait is once you apply in the automation script, this is applicable for all the elements inside the script. So it will always wait for the element to load and then it will perform the respective action of that particular step. Now let us assume I'm giving a 20 seconds wait statement. Now I'm giving an implicit wait and I'm mentioning it as wait for 20 seconds. Is it going to wait for entire 20 seconds? So let us assume that my element is getting loaded within 5 seconds or within 10 seconds. What is going to happen then? So when the element is going to load within 10 seconds, it is going to wait only for 10 seconds. Then it will go for the next operation. So here let us assume that verify if welcome text is displayed. So what will happen? This welcome text is loaded within 10 seconds. So after 10 seconds, it will perform this action. So it will be verifying whether this is displaying or not. In the same fashion, let us take login button. My login button is taking 5 seconds to load. So it is going to wait only for 5 seconds and then it is going to perform the click action. So for this element, it is taking like 20 seconds to load. So here I have mentioned 20 seconds. So what will happen? It will wait for 20 seconds. Within 20 seconds, it is not visible. Then what is going to happen? It is going to fail this particular step. So I have mentioned only 20 seconds. The maximum time it can wait for the element is 20 seconds. If it is taking more than 20 seconds, what is going to happen? It is going to fail this current particular step. So this is how explicit wait will work. It will wait for the element to be loaded, and once you apply implicit wait for the script one time, it is applicable for all the elements under it. Now let us discuss about the explicit wait. So what is this explicit wait? So here let us take the same scenario where we have written the script for same registration process, and here if you notice, open browser, maximize browser, navigate to URL, and implicit wait of 20 seconds is given. So now what it will do, it will wait for this particular welcome text to load and then it will verify whether it is displayed or not. Right? Now next step, I want to click on this login button. Now let us take a scenario where sometimes in the any application, not only e-commerce application, it may be any application. So a button will be there, but when you click on it, it will not receive the click action. When you click on it multiple times, later it will take the click action. Have you came across this situation? Why? Because the button is loaded, but the functionality of the button is not loaded. So the button is loaded and the button is visible in the UI, but when I click on it, it is not taking the click action. So now I have to wait for the functionality of this login button, right? I want this login button to be clickable. So how do I tell this particular automation script? Wait until the element is clickable. So I'll be using something called as explicit wait. And here I'm specifying the condition. So my condition is I want to wait until this login button is clickable. So that I will specify, and later once after it is clickable, it is going to click on the login button. So what is my next step? Once we click on the login button, it is going to verify the login text, right? So here this is going to be handled with the help of implicit wait. Why? Because implicit wait will wait for this particular element to load and then it will perform the verification action. Correct? Now, once after I am landing in the login page, I have to click on create account button since we are talking about registration process, right? So what will be my next step? I have to click on the create account button. Now, is this explicit wait which I have given here is going to be applicable for this element also? No. Observe here I have mentioned wait till login button is clickable because this is element specific. When I say explicit wait, right, it is element specific. So here, whenever you are going to give the explicit wait, it will be applicable for one single element. Now, if I want this create account button to be clickable, then what I have to do? I have to use another one explicit wait saying that wait till create account button is clickable. So here you can ask me like explicit wait is only for clickable? No, this is one of the condition. So we have other conditions also, like it should be visible or it should be invisible. So we have multiple conditions which we'll be exploring once we are into the platform. So I just want to make you understand that whenever you want the specific element functionality, then you will be going for explicit wait. So here, as I said, wait till the login button is clickable. So here, this is my condition. My condition is it should be clickable. It should wait until the particular element is clickable. So now let us assume that I am giving 20 seconds explicit wait. So maximum time for the element to be clickable is 20 seconds. Now let us assume that the element is clickable within 10 seconds. Then what is going to happen? It is going to wait only for 10 seconds and it will perform the click action. Now it is taking more than 20 seconds. What is going to happen? Then this particular step will be getting failed because the element is not clickable within the 20 seconds, right? So it is going to fail that particular step. And when I talk about explicit wait, it is element specific, unlike implicit wait. Whereas implicit wait will be applicable for all the elements under the script, correct? Whereas explicit wait will be applicable only for the specific element which you have specified. I hope this explicit wait is clear. Now let us go for the custom wait. Custom wait, say for example, let us take the same script where we have added the implicit wait, explicit wait, everything is added. Now once I click on the login button, my login page will be loading, right? Here I don't want to wait for the login page to load or this shopper login text to load, right? I just want to wait for 5 seconds. I do not want any condition to be satisfied, or I don't want the element to be loaded within a specified time. I just wanted to wait for 5 seconds. In that case, I will be using the custom wait. So I will not check any condition, I will not check any element. I just wanted to wait for 5 seconds. Then I will be using this custom wait, and custom wait will wait for particular time. That's it. It doesn't care whether the element is loaded, whether the condition is satisfied, or whether the application is loaded. It doesn't care. It will wait for 5 seconds. That is custom wait. So these are the different wait statements that we have in the FireFlink platform. So here, if you can see, this particular script is passing now. Now, what could happen is, so once it is navigating to the Shopperstack URL, due to some network issue, the page is not loading properly. In that case, my step number 4 might fail because this is verification in LP, right? It has to verify whether this element is visible or not, displayed or not, right? So here, when I say I want this element to be displayed, first of all, the application should be loaded, right? So I have to tell this automation script, whenever the application is loading, wait for the application to load and then perform that particular action. So here, what I can specify, I want this elements to be loaded and then perform the respective action. So in the step number 4, welcome to Shopperstack is there. That is a text. I want the element to be loaded and I need to be verified. And this step number 5 is nothing but click on login button. I want the login button to be loaded and then perform the action. So in the same fashion, for all the steps here, we are using one kind, means one element, right? So for all the elements, I want to wait for them to load and then perform the respective actions. In that case, what wait we can use? We have actually 3 options. One is implicit, explicit, and custom wait. I want one wait which is applicable for all the elements, and it has to wait for each and every element to load and then perform the action. So what is the only option that we have now? Implicit wait. So where we can give the implicit wait? I want it to be applicable for all the elements. So here, if you can see, in open browser, I'm not using any element. In maximize browser, I'm not using any element. In navigate to URL, I'm not using element. But in the 4th step, I'm using a element. So starting from here, I want to be applicable for all the steps. So what I have to do, I have to add a 4th step now. Before this 4th step and after this 3rd step, I want to add a step, right? Can we add it? Yes, we have an option. You have to just click on this plus button on the 3rd step, which will actually help you to add the 4th step. And here, as we discussed, what wait we are going to add? Implicit wait, right? I'll just type implicit. And here you can just click on this implicit wait. Here it is asking for the time. So what I will do, I'll just specify 20 seconds. So this implicit wait will always take the time in the form of seconds. So this is hard coding. We should never hard code. What I will do, I'll just create this as a variable. So here I'll just remove the name and I'll just give it as implicit. And let me just create this as a global variable so that I can use it in multiple scripts. I'll just click on create. And now let me give the if else checkpoint. And let me just click on add. So here, when I run this particular script, what is going to happen? It is going to wait for each and every element to be loaded and then it is going to perform the operation. So here in this script, hereafter it will not fail if the element is taking time to load. So here, say for example, I have given the implicit wait as 20 seconds, right? If the element is taking more than 20 seconds, it is going to fail, right? Let us just explore this by running the script once again. So I'll just click on this run button. So it will create a new execution ID and the execution is triggered now. So the application is loading now. See, the execution is already done. So what I will do, I'll just sync this particular status to see the latest status which is getting passed. So here what we can do, we can just click on this past status and you can go to this particular script and here you can see the step level result as well as script level result. See, all the steps are getting passed. And if you notice something, the execution was very fast, right? We are not able to see it properly. So can we slow the execution so that we can see the execution properly? Can we do that? Yes, we can do that with the help of settings called as quick run settings. So let me just go to the particular script now. So here we have this particular script and usually what we will do, we will just click on this run button. We have another run button called as quick run settings, which helps us to slow down the execution in order to see the execution, which we will discuss in detail in the next session. Thank you.